Hey, Professor Graves. My name is Sherman, of course, and this is my social impact in sports project. Um, my athlete is Muhammad Ali, and the photo, obviously, is the world famous photo. The photo I think of when I think of Muhammad Ali is from his second fight with Sonny Liston, when he knocked him out in the first round. Introduction. Muhammad Ali was born in 1942. Many call him the greatest boxer of all time. From Louisville, Kentucky, he stood up against multiple things, including racism and the Vietnam War. Um, he was a hero to some, but a villain to others. And well, that perception changed over time, as he, just became a living legend. He sadly did die in 2016, however, from sepsis, and Parkinson's did not help his case either. He died as an icon in and out of the ring and certainly will live on forever. Ali's upbringing, he was born Cassius Clay to Cassius Clay Sr. His dad, Cassius Clay Sr., painted billboards for a living while his mom was a housewife. He grew up in a very split religious house, but he still went to church every Sunday. But this split religious house was because his mom was Baptist while his dad was Methodist. Um, Ali ended up following his own thing after time and went into the Nation of Islam, which I'll go into deeper. Um, as he was told that was the religion for all Black people. Ali found them in 1959 at a boxing event in Chicago, and he faced a lot of racism as he was born during the era of the Jim Crow laws. He started boxing when he was 12 and got trained by cop Joe Martin, which I thought was really intriguing. That he started boxing at the age of 12. And obviously, he rose up the ranks pretty quickly as he ended up winning a Olympic gold medal while he was a teenager in 1960 as he beat Poland boxer. Um, Ali and his brother went to this Nation of Islam meeting in 1962. They got brought to the meeting by Sam Saxon, and this is where Ali met and befriended and got mentored by Malcolm X because he found Malcolm X's words very inspiring, and he befriended and got mentored by Malcolm X. He even went under the name Cassius X for a little bit of time, but someone told him, "Hey, what about Muhammad Ali?" And he really liked it, and that's when he changed his name. Um, with the new name, Ali ended up going over to Africa to find his ancestry. Um, while Malcolm X was getting into some trouble, and they were just disagreeing, and Ali and Malcolm X ended up not they Ali ended their friendship because Malcolm X and him had differing opinions, and Ali just didn't agree with him, so he ended the friendship. Um, Career accomplishments, obviously, one of the greatest boxers of all time, 56-5 in the heavyweight division, 37 knockouts, got KO'd once in his whole career, and it was towards the end of his career when he got KO'd by Larry Holmes. Um, his first pro fight was October of 1960, and he won three world heavyweight titles. He obviously got banned from boxing in '67 for being a conscientious objector, as he rejected going to Vietnam. And then he was able to come back in 1970, and his first loss ever was after 15 rounds, where he lost by unanimous decision to Joe Frazier for the world title. Um, he KO'd his opponent 66% of the time, and I just find it crazy that that man fought in 548 rounds during his whole career. And after a while, in 2001, he got gifted the Medal of Freedom by President George W. Bush. This is the history of what he fought all against. Ali grew up during the Jim Crow era. And he grew up and had civil rights activists like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Obviously, America has always struggled with racism and civil rights throughout all their history, and you even see some of it today. A. Philip Randolph is an activist for civil rights. He threatened to stage an all-black march towards Washington if President Roosevelt didn't end discrimination. He also fought against the draft, as the draft drafted young men 18 or older and put them into combat zones. During the time of 64 through 73, the United States drafted 2.2 million out of the 27 million out of the pool to go overseas into the war zone of Vietnam. At home, people were protesting the war in the draft. And well, many conscientious objectors would either, they would just reject it, or they'd get drafted and they would try to run away to Canada. Um, just to, try to get away from the war because they didn't want to serve. Um, Things that led him to becoming this is the segregation and the racism he faced growing up, and also Emmett Till's death, like, moved him so much because that showed him how bad racism was. He was also moved by the words of Malcolm X and MLK Jr. The draft in Vietnam, he was led to this by because his religious beliefs of Islamic was peace over war, as he wanted peace over war. Therefore, he, didn't want to go when he got drafted. He rejected it because he's like, my religious beliefs don't align with this. I believe in peace over war. Um, and he became and very much led and helped lead the anti-war movement. Things he did, he changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. Because he said his original name was a slave name. He participated in the Cleveland Summit, which was backing Muhammad Ali. Jim Brown organized it, where Jim Brown, Kareem, Bill Russell all came to support Ali's beliefs about Vietnam and racism. Um, he used these beliefs, as well as the words of MLK and Malcolm X, to speak out against racism. Dr. King was assassinated, sadly, of course, and Muhammad Ali tried to carry out Dr. King's vision. He spoke on college campuses and just tried to get people behind him. And for Vietnam, he rejected the draft due to the Islamic religious beliefs, of course. And he always just stressed the fact that we have peace over war. That's what my religion said. He had multiple court cases about this. Um, and he helped push the anti-war movement even further. And America ended up pulling out of the war. Um, Things that changed because of him. Ali, he helped equality in sports through his performances as a champ in boxing because he spoke out against racism in sports. He helped more African Americans, and he helped, get more diversity into athletics. He made America think about race in a new way, which helped bring some people together. And he boosted Black and African American pride, and he became a very powerful symbol for those who struggled with the injustices and racism. Um, and then for Vietnam, he helped push the anti-war movement, and he got publicized by rejecting the draft, and he helped push the anti-war movement even further. And he, talked about their opinions, and he helped people talk about their opinions because of that. Um, and it helped other African American athletes like Kareem, Jim Brown, and Bill Russell step out of the shadows, so they could support Ali and support civil rights activism, as well as, against the Vietnam War in the draft. And yeah, over time, America ended up pulling out of the Vietnam War, and Ali was very much, in my opinion, a part of that, as he was helping push the anti-war movement constantly with his Islamic beliefs and constantly saying, "Hey, we want peace over war." Here are my sources. I have these 3 pages of sources, and thank you for listening and watching, Professor, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.